Welcome to the 3 o'clock afternoon session of the City Council meeting of the City of El Cajon. Mayor Bill Wells had an unexpected emergency to tend to this afternoon, so he's not present. And yours truly has taken off the training wheels and will be riding the bike for real today as we go through this together. So would you please join me as we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Yeah.
Deputy Mayor, with your permission, may I call the roll?
Of course.
Thank you. Yes, Mayor Wells is absent. All other council members are present.
Okay, thank you. The city clerk posted orders of adjournment of the July 9th, 2019 meeting and the agenda of the July 23rd, 2019 meeting in accordance with state law, council, and housing authority policy. Next item on the agenda is presentations. We have a presentation for crime-free multi-housing. I would like to invite Police Services Officer Samantha Shern to come to the podium to share with us about the crime-free multi-housing program. Good afternoon, Samantha. How are you?
Good afternoon.
Do you need us to come down to present anything?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Good afternoon. I'm Samantha with the El Cajon Police Department, and I do our crime-free multi-housing program. And I'm very honored to be here again to acknowledge our latest crime-free, certified crime-free community, and also to do something we've never done before, and that is honor a manager that's been part of our crime-free since 1996. So we're honored to have both people here today. Excuse me. So first I'd like to call up Claudia. And I do have a bit of a story with each person, so hopefully I don't use up my 3 minutes. Is it 3? So anyway, thank you again for having us here today. The El Cajon Crime-Free Multi-Housing, we've offered it since 1997. It's a lot like Neighborhood Watch, but for apartment communities. So we try to build a relationship with law enforcement, the management, and tenants, and overall it becomes successful. So I've had the opportunity to recently certify a property called Vista Pines, and it's located at 1549 East Main Street. It was certified in October of 2018. A little bit of history about Vista Pines, and this shows the success of the program and also the collaboration with the police department and city as well. On December 5th, 2017, the Planning Commission approved a conditional use permit that allowed the conversion of a former motel called the Ha Penny Inn to a single-room occupancy hotel. This project included the conversion of 75 motel rooms to a mix of studios and one-bedroom units. Additionally, the project included the rehabilitation of the existing landscaping and enhancing the common areas such as the outdoor sitting areas, laundry facility, swimming area, and rec room. So some of the enhancements that they made were interior. They upgraded all of the units, new countertops, flooring, exterior. They redid the landscaping. They updated the pool. At one point it's all new laundry facility, and they had to get rid of all those tenants from the motel so that they could do these renovations. So I've had the pleasure of working with Claudia, and who's here today, and her general manager, Scott. They're very, very committed. It did take a lot of time to get this done, and they work closely with our planning commission here at the city. So at one point with the Ha Penny in 2016, with the previous owner of the motel, they averaged 156 calls per year. In the spring of 2017, when they took ownership, calls went down to 71. And as of today, in 2019, we have 29 calls for service. So that's a great accomplishment and just shows their commitment. So again, thank you for all of your hard work and your dedication. I work closely with all of their team, and this is a true example of a success, and I believe you continue to buy more properties out here, so we're looking forward to continuing working with you. So thank you, Claudia. And then
Claudia, thank you. Thank you on behalf of the city for rehabbing that property and turning it from something not as good into something really good. And we appreciate your efforts in making it better for the residents around the community as well as for the residents of Vista Pines. Made it a much better place. So thank you for your hard work day in and day out. Lieutenant, you want to say anything? Sounds good. Okay. Thank you very much. On behalf of the city, why don't you come on down and shake everybody's hand?
Okay, and I have one more. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here today, but this is an acknowledgement for one of my crime-free managers that's been in the program the longest, and it was one that I didn't want her to go unacknowledged for her work. So this might take me just a little bit longer. I'm going to be honoring Chris Sterling today, and on her behalf is her property manager supervisor, Christine Lamarca. She's going to be accepting this on behalf of Chris. So a little bit about Chris, and I'm really sorry that she couldn't be here because she really deserves this acknowledgement. Since 1995, she's worked as a resident apartment manager in the city of El Cajon. That same year, Chris started participating with a grassroots group that was working alongside El Cajon's Community Policing Division. Together, along with others, she started documenting her knowledge and experience. She went as far as creating a handbook that suggested ways to handle situations and working with attorneys from Kimball, Tyree, and St. John. Together, they created a forms library that at the time weren't readily available for some traditional associations. They hosted events to bring the managers together to network, and it was very successful. Through that network, she was able to compile and share a collaborative handbook, which still provides resources to this day for other managers to use for applicant screening services. This networking group became the resident manager support system. When I started doing the Crime Free program 12 years ago, they were huge in helping me and educating me about landlord-tenant laws and also supporting me with Crime Free. So together, led by Chris's effort, they began screening tenant applications and doing rental and employment background screenings, but that was just the beginning. In '96, Chris learned of the crime-free multi-housing program that had started in Mesa, Arizona. She began making phone calls and getting materials sent to her. She knew that if she could incorporate the criminal screening component into her tenant screening practices, she could really improve the quality of neighbors in her RMSS communities. In '97, she applied to work for the Cajon company, and Christine Lamarca and her dad, Mr. Cajon, they're the owners of Cajon Properties. She's worked for them, and during this time, Chris was assigned some of the most difficult situations. One of the communities she moved into was affectionately referred to as the zoo, and was charged with cleaning that up. And that can be quite a task. Managing multifamily communities is challenging, is even more so today. It requires a conscientious approach to make sure that all residents are afforded the same right to the quiet peace and enjoyment in a community. Chris is a no-nonsense manager, which makes her wonderful. She cuts to the chase. She doesn't play any games. She knows the laws, and people know that, and she has very low turnover because of that and the tenant base she's created. In 97, through RMSS's encouragement under Chris's leadership, she became one of the first adopters of the crime-free multi-housing program. So her property was one of the first few that we certified. Now she's been a manager for 22 years, and with over 150 apartment communities in El Cajon, it's an honor to have Chris as a manager, a friend. I've established friendships with a lot of my managers, and without her hard work, the crime-free program probably wouldn't have blossomed like it did from the get-go. So to Chris, and on behalf of, I believe, the city and the El Cajon Police Department, we thank her for her commitment to the crime-free program and the community overall for more than 22 years. And we also thank Cajon Properties for your support of the crime-free program as well. So thank you.
So you folks are the landlord owners of the property, right? So thank you, Bob and Christine, both for wanting to be part of this crime-free program, because it really does set a standard in El Cajon for good properties. And good properties means low call for service, quality of life. So thank you both for wanting to participate in this program. Chris is really a pioneer in a sense. 22 years. It sounds like she was one of the first.
Oh, yeah.
and she's one of the first. She's also probably an ambassador for the program. So please let Chris know we appreciate her and her efforts and being a pioneer and ambassador. And we're just grateful for you all for what you do for El Cajon. So thank you. Okay, we've got one more presentation from Waste Management. I'd like to call up Christine Costa to share with us about Recycled Champions.
All right. Well, good afternoon, honorable council members, staff, and community. First and foremost, we just want to say thank you for the opportunity to serve El Cajon. It's a privilege and an honor, and we're just really excited to be part of this community. And as a proud community partner, we are dedicated to promoting recycling throughout the city. We remain committed to increasing our recycling education and outreach efforts as we work together with the city to meet statewide recycling goals. One of our recycling education outreach strategies is our Recycle Champion Award. This award recognizes the exemplary actions of a commercial business and a multifamily property within the city for doing their part to recycle often and recycle right. I'm here today to share with you 2 businesses in your city that are doing just that. Our first recycling champion is Linwood Mobile Estates. They're located at 1285 East Washington Avenue. They're a 207-space senior mobile home community with a commingled recycling program. Commingled meaning that the residents combine paper, plastics, cardboard, all the recyclable materials into one container, and then it's serviced by our company. So last year, our team collaborated with the on-site management and a resident that is considered the recycling champion who reached out and wanted to start a program, didn't know how. The way that they handle their trash now is they have a large open-top container, and the maintenance staff actually goes to each space and picks up the trash from the residents, puts it in the large container, and then we service it. And the reason they do that is they didn't want all the trucks driving on the asphalt during the day. And so due to their concern, they weren't sure how to start the program. We assured them we have many options, and after speaking with them, we decided that we would employ our valet stinger service, which is a smaller utility truck that goes in, fetches the recycling containers, brings them out to South 2nd Street where they're serviced by the larger container. So we are not taking the larger truck on the property, which made them very happy, and it's working for the seniors out there. So to help educate the residents about the new recycling program, management initially mailed every resident a letter letting them know that this program was coming, how to recycle, along with recycling flyers indicating what could be recycled. There's also laminated recycling signage present throughout the entire community, reminding the residents how to properly recycle. And currently the property has 5 commingled recycling bins that are collected on a weekly basis. So for their efforts, we would like to commend Linwood Mobile Estates for their desire to divert resources out of our landfills and for their outstanding efforts in creating a convenient and effective recycling program for their senior citizens. Please join me in recognizing Linwood Mobile Estates as this year's multifamily recycling champion. She's nervous. Oh, perfect. All right, our second Recycling Champion Award goes to Senior Aerospace Katima. Senior Aerospace Katima is a leading provider of aircraft components and turbine engine builders. They manufacture precision products for space, marine, and ground-based applications. They specialize in producing complex fabrications and machine components derived from titanium and nickel alloys. Founded in 1953, right here in El Cajon, Katima's manufacturing plant is located on a 27-acre site just off Greenfield Drive. With over 378,000 square feet of manufacturing space, Katima has reached a diversion rate that exceeds well over 70%. So upon entering the lobby of Katima, all visitors must watch a safety briefing video. And in this video, there's information about the company's commitment to the environment, including information about their recycling program. Both inside and outside of the facility, recycling containers are visible with proper labeling and strategically placed next to trash containers. So this allows the employees and visitors to recycle at every opportunity possible. All new employees attend new hire training, which actually has recycling training involved in it as well. Currently, we are servicing 9 3-yard commingled recycling bins on a weekly basis, and in 2018, Katima diverted over 83 tons of commingled recycling, and again, achieving a diversion rate over 70% just with us. They recycle a variety of metals, including copper, titanium, aluminum, and other mixed metals. These are essentially scraps from the products that they're making. And in addition to their metals, they also recycle e-waste, batteries, fluorescent bulbs, tires, aerosol cans, and many more, and much more. Senior Aerospace Katima is ISO 14001 certified, which is a set of environmental management standards that helps organizations improve their environmental performance and compliance. These standards required an organization to put in place and implement a series of practices and procedures such as pollution prevention, resource management, and comprehensive recycling programs. These all result in environmental management system. They're very proud of their certification, and they're even helping other local manufacturing businesses right here in the city obtain that same certification. So as you can see, Katima is committed to doing their part to preserve our environment for future generations, all while helping other businesses right here in our city do the same. So for these stellar efforts, we'd like to recognize Senior Aerospace Katima as this year's Commercial Business Recycling Champion. And lastly, just wanted to say if you're a commercial business or multifamily property located within the city of El Cajon and you're interested in learning how to start a recycling program or where we start, please feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to come out and talk to you and give you some options. And always thank you for thinking green and recycling right. Thanks.
Thank you, Christine. It's interesting to see the Linwood property is very much a grassroots effort to the sophistication of Katima is the spectrum there shows that it can be done from grassroots to certification of different things.
Yeah.
So thank you, Waste Management, and you and Kaylin and Phil for helping the city out on a lot of things you do to help us make the city a better place to live. So thank you, Christine.
We're proud to be here. Thank you.
Okay, the next item is agenda changes. Does staff have any agenda changes?
Mr. Goebel, we have no changes to the agenda.
Okay, council members have any changes to the agenda? Nope. Okay. We are now at consent items. Consent items are routine matters enacted by one motion according to the recommendations listed below. With the concurrence of the City Council, a council member or person in attendance may request discussion of a consent item at this time. Council members, do you wish to pull any consent items? Nope. Staff, do you have any that you want to pull for consent items?
No, sir.
Okay. Does the public have any items they want to pull for discussion?
No, sir, no cards.
Okay, great, thank you. So may we have a motion to approve the consent items?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded, please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present.
Okay, I think this brings us to public comment. At this time, any person may address a matter within the jurisdiction of the City Council, Housing Authority, successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency that is not on the agenda. Comments relating to items on today's agenda are to be taken at the time the agenda item is heard. State law prohibits discussion or action of items not on the agenda. However, council, authority, and agency members may briefly respond to statements or questions. An item may be placed on a future agenda. And Angela, do we have any cards under public comment?
Yes, sir. We have 3 speakers. The first one is Sunshine Horton.
Sunshine, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I was out of the place here because I had a 5.5-hour operation for my back with metals and that, but they did it through my front. So they degutted me and fixed me. But I'm here. And the reason I'm here is because I have something in my heart, like I did when my husband went to war, that I put the yellow ribbons for 9 years because people was feeling like me. They were at war and nobody was telling us anything. So I made El Cajon let the public know that we did care for them and that we were praying and waiting for them. Well, now I have another thing. Now that I'm back, I know I'm old, but I have a lot of energy and I can't stand what I see. Cigarette butts. Okay? I came out of my car. This was on the floor. There's a trash can over there. Okay? I want people to realize to treat that issue like if they were at home. Are you going to flip the cigarettes everywhere? Are they going to throw that right there? I, in my car, have a bag, you know, the ones that you buy for 10 cents at the store. I have a bag and I throw the trash there and change it in that. I mean, it's easy. So I want to do is pick up the butts. I already have money saved and I'm saving more because I'm going to order a whole bunch of those cigarette ashtrays that they're little bags that you can put it out and keep it until you get somewhere and you can throw it. Because I will give it to everybody that is smoking. I will give it to them to make it easy because they're not polluting their lungs. They're polluting all of us because if you all go into the computer and look at what toxic can do a cigarette butt to the environment, you're going to choke. Cigarette butts are not litter. They are toxic waste. We have to learn the truth behind cigarette butts. They're polluting our streets immensely. And then flavored tobacco is high in nicotine, and nicotine is brain poison. We're poisoning the kids. We're doing a lot of stuff. Instead of making money by doing good, we're making money by doing all this bad. So I'm just hoping that I would sign any paper. If I poke my finger or something, I would do nothing. I just going to pick up all those cigarette butts, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you,
Sing
Sunshine.
well.
Angela, next speaker.
Jim Sirigliano.
Jim, how are you this afternoon?
Very well, Deputy Mayor, Council, staff. Just real quick, excuse me. Just real quick, I missed a couple of meetings due to personal reasons. But right off the bat, I want to thank Councilman Ortiz for meeting with me. And when I thanked him at the end of our last meeting, he said I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't meet with you. And I appreciate that attitude. Thank you. Just real quickly, I want to cover a few things. Water purification, which I saw online, excellent idea. And that leads me to something that I want to leave some copies for council and staff. And it has to do with smart meters. It's affecting myself in our community right now. We have an issue about them. But eventually it's going to affect everyone. If you have any questions, you could ask me later, and I can go into a little bit more. But I would like to submit these copies for everyone. And all I ask is that you take the time to look at one of the presentations that's on here, because it's something that ties in with CAP, which you spoke about one of the other meetings. And perhaps it's even larger than that. And but I just hope that you would at least consider this here, because it is very important. And Mr. Ortiz and I left you a copy of it, Mr. Ortiz, last time. And just look at it, please. Moving on about, I kind of missed the Magnolia Performing Arts, the free, when they walked over. I missed that also. I wish I could have been there for that. And I noticed that on the scheduling was Master Chef Jr. was on the. And I had a question about, with Mr. Ortiz, also about pricing. You know, I feel that when we have these in the future, especially with touring events like Master Chef, somehow they could schedule, you know, maybe some kind of a matinee for people, because the ticketing sometimes can get fairly pricey for the average citizen. But something like that there where maybe they want to take their kids and things in the future. Just something I'm just asking about. Then secondly, Humberto Corbera. I couldn't have thought of a better pick, and I'm sure that he could probably fill most of these seats here on the council and even the staff, with the exception maybe of getting a law degree. But I was happy to see that he is on the Planning Commission. Excellent person, and I really enjoy speaking with him and how much I know about him. A quick shout out to the police department, because they did come out to where I live in Villanova, our park, very quickly and responded to a senior citizen that was having some trouble. And in closing, I notice my time is up, but I just hope that someday the council and staff may consider, again, Form 700 and 460. A lot of the people aren't aware of this here, and I'd like to see them put it on the El Cajon City webpage, so it's available to everyone with the coming year coming up again. And it's something that's very dear to me. I think it's very important, and it would help educate the public about what these forms are about, because it did help me out last election cycle. Especially to find about assets, which is Form 700, and 460, which is contributions. And that what really helped me to see. It actually affected my own home park, when I was surprised to see the couple of contributions that were made from my own owner of my own park. And it didn't work actually in our favor, but I'm I just had to speak about this here. Now, if anyone has any questions for me, I'd appreciate you asking them now. Yes, Councilman.
Any more issues on the mediation that was done, or the progress that was made, or is any?
Well, nothing more. It's kind of at a stalemate right now. Most of the education of the people about what transpired is up to our senior association, which I'm no longer part of, and that communication. And like I described to you last time, it isn't what it was meant to be, the mediation. Okay, I wish I could update you more, but it's kind of just in limbo right now. And I can see it dragging on for a while, what was decided about it. And by the way, Mr. McClellan, if you'd like, I have a senior moment that I'd like to share with you, either now or later, that only a senior could appreciate.
Okay.
And if you want to hear it now, I'd let you, if they'll give me the time, Deputy.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Well, anyway, when I was leaving Oregon on the 25th of last month, going through TSA, I'm going through the line, license. I started to take off my shoes, and the gentleman there said, "You don't have to take your shoes off." And I said, "Well, why not?" And he said, "Because your age." And I didn't have to go through anything. They put me in a special line, and I've never had anything like that happen before. But I wasn't know how to really take it when he told me that. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. And if there's any other questions, I'd really appreciate it.
Well, yep. I've been in that line myself, and I've experienced that. So it's gratifying that when you get to be 75, you don't have to take your shoes off anymore.
Yeah, but the thing is that was funny for me was that I still could be a threat as a senior.
I
didn't have to go through anything; they just passed me right through.
I don't think we could run fast enough to get away.
Well, yeah, that's true. Okay, but anyone else with a question?
No.
Okay, and Councilman Ortiz, thank you again. I was very impressed with speaking with him, and I know I grasped at every opportunity and took up a lot of time, but I also found out a lot about you, and I appreciate having you on the council. Thank you.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Angela, any more cards?
Yes, sir. Our last speaker is Peggy Buffo.
Hi, Peggy. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Thank you.
My name is Peg Buffo, and I help run a nonprofit that assists the El Cajon Animal Shelter, the ACES Foundation. And Mr. Ortiz, you probably haven't run across this yet, but we're having a fundraiser on August 8th at the Downtown Cafe, and we are cordially inviting you guys to attend. It's from 5:30 to 9. The Downtown Cafe will be donating a portion of the proceeds for that evening to the ACES Foundation, and also we have raffle prizes and what do we have to call them? Opportunity drawings that night. So come on out and join us and enjoy the Downtown Cafe and the ACES people. And we do a lot of this type of thing for the shelter, and we have new brochures, so I'm going to pass out some flyers, and you guys come and join us.
Why don't you take 30 seconds and tell us all what ACES does?
Okay, so ACES was formed some 2005, I believe. We formed a nonprofit to assist the El Cajon Animal Shelter, and what we do is we help fill in the shelter's needs that the city can't pay for. So if we have an animal that comes in that's injured that would be otherwise adoptable, we pay for the surgery. We assist we're doing spay and neuter clinics now. We're having a nonprofit come to the shelter. We've had 3 so far this year that we've paid a portion of the spay and neuter so it doesn't cost so much for people to fix their pets. And we'd like to do some other types of outreach like that, such as a microchip clinic, and our organization helps the shelter with their needs. So that's really what we do.
Well, we appreciate the supplemental effort you do for the city at the animal control shelter. I don't think the city can do as much as perhaps is needed, so certainly you fill a valuable gap there. So thank you all for your efforts in doing that.
Yes, recently my mother-in-law adopted a small dog. We missed two of them at the El Cajon Animal Shelter because people were ahead of us on the list. But I was, every now and then you see this full-page ad in the San Diego Union Tribune on all these dogs available. Is there any way we could bring more of the small dogs to El Cajon, because they get zapped up right away? And
Well, the city that really just is responsible for dogs in the city of El Cajon and in La Mesa. So if dogs are within the perimeters, that's really all they deal with.
I see. So we can't get extra small dogs because it looks like they're in pretty much demand.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. Okay.
They probably have enough.
Yeah. But,
Adopt a bigger dog. We get a lot of pit bulls in.
Yeah. Right.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
you.
I'll leave the fire.
Angela, any more cards?
No more cards, sir.
Okay, sounds good. That takes us to written communications. There are no written communications on today's agenda. Public hearings, administrative reports. There are no public hearings and no administrative reports for today's agenda. Commission reports. It's an easy day. There are no commission reports on today's agenda. So that brings us to activities report and comments. I'll start with Mr. Kendrick.
There need to be a correction on mine. The Heartland Fire Communications and Heartland Fire Training meeting is actually this coming Thursday. It wasn't last Thursday. So I need to make that correction.
Sounds good. Mr. McClellan.
As reported.
And minor as reported, Mr. Ortiz.
As reported.
Sounds good. Joint Council Member Reports, Item 13, modifications to the Tobacco Retailers License Program. Item 13 is a joint council member report from Councilman Kendrick and Ortiz. So, gentlemen, who wants to take the lead on this?
Well, we had a groundbreaking tobacco licensing ordinance about 15 years ago, and current data shows us that it's no longer as effective as it had been earlier, and because so many stores are now selling tobacco to children. New data from the Center for Disease Control tells us that 50% of smokers will die as a direct result from a tobacco-related disease. So half of these kids that these retailers are selling to will die because of the product the retailers illegally sell them. So I think that we need to take another look at this ordinance to make it more effective.
Yeah, I would just add the penalties that the city is implementing right now are not effective. And I think we need to take a harder look. These retailers aren't getting the message. We shouldn't be selling tobacco products to children, plain and simple. Your business model should not be dependent upon that. So want to thank CASA for their great work in getting us this information and working with us over the years. That was the first presentation I had seen from CASA, I think, last council meeting. It was very enlightening. And so with that, thank you on behalf of the entire city of El Cajon.
I have a question. Morgan, what is the maximum allowable fine for somebody selling cigarettes to a minor?
I'm not sure what the state fines are because we don't handle those, but for our purposes of our ordinance, it's at $1,000 for each violation, each day of violation. And the way it's structured under our ordinance is anybody found in violation following they may appeal it. They could pay the fine and have a violation on the record, or they could appeal it, and if the hearing officer finds that they are violated it, they pay that $1,000 fine as well. If there's a second violation within 60 months, there's a suspension as well as a fine. And I should say, as for the first violation, they can actually be suspended of their license. I think it's 30 days, or pay the fine. For a second violation, they have to pay the fine and of $1,000, and they're subject to an automatic 60-day suspension of selling. And it goes up to a full year suspension on the fourth violation within 60 months. As for the maximum amount we can charge, that's in the ordinance at $1,000. However, our charter does allow us to take it up to $2,500 as a maximum.
I wonder if the council would be interested in raising it to $2,500 because of the fact that apparently the $1,000 doesn't have much of an impact considering the profit from the tremendous sale of cigarettes that these organizations are selling, the commercial organizations. I think maybe the carrot needs to be a little stronger, or the slap needs to be a little stronger, that to maybe prevent them from being so easily violated for this selling to minors.
Bob, I share your concern. The average convenience store now sells $800,000 a year of tobacco products, and I think that even the $2,500 is just a drop in the bucket.
What I say.
But I agree that we need the $2,500, but I think we need to have some sort of a bigger stick, and perhaps in the first offense, they can't sell tobacco for a month, and the $2,500. And I'd like to see a second sting for those that within the 6 months, and for those that sell tobacco to kids. Remember, they're killing half the kids they're selling to.
Well, I would agree with that, and maybe they should lose it for 90 days of the second sting, along with the $2,500 each time.
I'd be good with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with the 30-day suspension as well on the first offense. We have to get the attention of these people, and it's not happening right now.
How about the $2,500 on the first?
I'm okay with that as well.
And,
what do we have? 43 first-time incidents in a one-year time frame, and those are just the times that they're being caught.
Yeah.
I mean,
how about the $2,500 for the second time, as well as say a 6 month suspension?
So what do we have here?
So we have $2,500 in 30 days, $2,500 in 6 months for the second suspension, or you could go 60 days for the second one. Make the sting a little stronger.
You know, it's not that hard for them to figure out who's 21 or over, because if you're under 21, you have the portrait license, driver's license, and if you're over 21, it's a landscape one. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out.
Yeah, other retailers are figuring it out.
That's right. We have another, if 80% of the retailers can figure it out, why can't that other 20% figure it out?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Angela, do we have any speaker cards for this item?
Yes, sir, we do. We have two speakers. The first one is Dana Stevens.
Good afternoon, Vice Mayor and Council. Thank you for taking up this item. I agree that the first offense is still netting too many offenders. I've done a little bit of research and found that out of the 183 jurisdictions in the state of California that have a tobacco retailer license, 22 of them suspend on the first offense. I have not had an opportunity since our last meeting to read all 22 of their ordinances and talk to their staff to see how that's going for them, and if they, how often do they do compliance, that sort of thing. So I think we need to do a little bit more study to find out how that's working. I also did want to point out that the CDC released a report, and it was published in JAMA for Pediatrics, the Journal of American Medical Association for Pediatrics, and that was just published on June 24th, and they noted that in the state of California, 44% sell to youth, and that there was a 49% sales rate among folks when the youth attempted to buy e-cigarette or a vaping device. So, and that's what we have found as well. That's kind of where our offenders are. I do want to say, with 79% of the stores not selling to our youth, that's nothing to shun about.
Yeah.
But I support your interest in bringing that to 100% compliance. I miss the days when it was only one or two that sold when we went out. So I look forward to working with you to come up with a solution that will hold up and that will be a big enough stick to earn compliance from the retailers. Thank you so much. If I can answer any questions, let me know, and I'd be happy to work with you to identify appropriate solution. Thank you.
Questions? Okay, next speaker.
Oh, our last speaker is Dr. Gary Woods.
Hey, Gary.
Hello. I'm very encouraged from what I just heard. Honorable Vice Mayor and Councilman, sometimes you take a lot of grief for what you do, but you are doing a lot of good. And when you're working in this area, that good affects lives. I'm serving on the Grossmont Union High School District Board, and one of our great concerns is there is a uptick in the use of nicotine products, vaping among junior high and high school students. After decades of improvement, we're losing it all. And I would like to think that everyone would be in favor of protecting children from nicotine use. We know all of its harmful effects, the throat cancer, the lung cancer, the mouth cancer, the emphysema. We know how addictive it is. You know, we've all probably known someone that has cancer, and they have to smoke even though they're connected to oxygen. They just can't give up that cigarette. It's that addictive. They take their life and the life of those around them. We've seen videos talking about this. Like you mentioned, Mr. Kendrick, we have the carding technology. We know which kids, how old they are. And so I'm alarmed at this apparent targeting of at-risk students, young students, minority students. In fact, they're targeting all of our students. And I'm alarmed by the use of flavors like root beer and bubble gum. These are not adult flavors. We have students that come to classes carrying something that looks like a flash drive, but it's a vaping device. They have tubes in which they blow the vapor into their coats so that the teachers can't see the vapor going out. We have a responsibility to protect the next generation. They're our future. They're our legacy. And this is the right direction.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a couple comments. As we've learned through the marijuana ordinance, the $2,500 a day fine, sometimes courts don't look upon that very well. And I think what you're hearing from the council is we should look at perhaps other cities and what some of the strong alternatives to a monetary fine. If the courts aren't going to let us have $2,500, maybe there are other strong things like 90-day suspensions and other possible things, because the speakers are right and the public's right. These are companies profiting off of harming our kids. So I think the sense of the council is we really need to be creative on how strong we want to address this through our ordinance.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Goebel. Yes, what we're finding in prosecuting violations of our marijuana dispensary ordinance and our zoning code is that there are courts out there that are not very pleased with $2,500 a day penalties. And in this ordinance actually is a $2,500 a day penalty, but you have to cite them each and every day or be out there and observe it each and every day in order to collect that. In the case of the medical marijuana or the marijuana dispensaries, courts can tell, I think we can put on the evidence that it's an ongoing violation, We have our staff trained at the community development staff, police department, our department helping to train them to make sure that their reports, their citations, and all the backup material, the evidence is sufficient to support imposing those very, very large fines. And remember, in those sort of cases, they act with impunity. They get cited and they essentially roll it up and toss it in the trash can, I'm sure. And property owners claim ignorance, even though we're convinced they're not ignorant of these violations. In the case of the tobacco retailer license ordinance, we would have to run sting operations every day to make a court unhappy with us of charging excessive fines. I would say I don't think they would find excessive $2,500, and I don't think the court would find it too punitive. In other words, the punishment does not fit the crime, to look at increasing the suspension or not allowing a buyout of the suspension on a first offense or something of that nature. And we should look at that when we come back with the report. We will look at that because I'm hearing what the City Council, and I know Mr. Mitchell is too, here's what the City Council's desire is about this. And we want to bring back options for you to consider.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Any more comments or questions? Gary?
Well, I would like to make this the strongest ordinance that will still pass constitutional muster. These people profit from the future suffering of our children. They profit from the eventual death of our children. So it kills them, the tobacco kills them just as dead as someone were put a gun to her head and fire it. So we need to make sure that this works, and I would like to base our ordinance on the strongest ordinance we can find in the state of California, and maybe go a little further.
Else? All right. Would anybody like to make a motion for the item? The recommendation is the City Council discuss possible changes and direct staff to return with changes at a future date.
I'll move that the City Council discuss possible changes to the Municipal Code, Chapter 8.33, and direct staff to return with changes based upon City Council discussion.
Second.
Second, please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present.
Okay, sounds good. We're now on to general information items for discussion. Item 14 is for informational purposes only. It's donations from the animal shelter. We'd like to thank Gary and Julie Robinson and an anonymous donation to the shelter. That brings us to item 15, or item
Or second ordinance.
14, first reading. There are no first readings, so item 15 is the second reading and adoption of an ordinance for the Granite Hills Drive rezoning. I'll ask the city clerk to read the title. But first, Angela, are there any speaker cards for this item?
We have no cards, sir.
Okay, seeing no cards, would you go ahead and read the title for this item?
Of course. An ordinance rezoning properties located on the south side of Granite Hills Drive between Hamishaw Road and Terrace Crest from RS9 residential single family 9,000 square feet to RS6 residential single family 6,000 square feet zone. APNs 514013-14 and -15, general plan designation, low density residential LR.
That's the ordinance. Would anybody like to make a motion?
Move adoption.
Second.
Second, please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present.
Okay, that brings us to closed sessions. There are no closed session items on today's agenda, which brings us to adjournment. The adjourned regular joint meeting of the El Cajon City Council, El Cajon Housing Authority, successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency, held this 23rd day of July 2019, is adjourned to Tuesday, August 13th, 2019 at 3 o'clock p.m. Thank you.